Welcome, everyone. I hope that you can see our screen. We're having a little bit of some issues today, but I think that we have worked it all out. Zoom had done some updates. Please remember to use the Q&A to ask any questions. We will be monitoring that. I have put the dial-in instructions and the link in case you get knocked off during this presentation. There's also the audio instructions if you can't hear. And we're going to just get on through and start this. The holiday. Yeah, I don't see any chat, any questions yet. All right. So welcome to Holiday Cyber Safe, navigating the web safely during the festive season. I'm Jeannie Best with the Penn West University Clearing SBDC, and I'm excited to have you join us today. This webinar is going to be about the holiday season. It is meant to be spent with family and friends, not on the phone or with your bank to freeze your credit cards. We want you to gain knowledge of what to look out for when shopping online and give yourself some peace of mind. You will leave this session with the confidence to detect when a deal is just too good to be true. Following the webinar, you will receive a PDF of the slides from the presentation provided by the speaker, and also a link for the recording to this webinar. We will also have this webinar downloaded or uploaded, I'm sorry, to our YouTube channel. All participants have been muted and the video disabled. If you have a question for our presenter, please enter them in the Q&A, as I said, by simply clicking the Q&A icon. It used to be at the bottom of your page, but it may be at the top of your page now. I know that mine is. If you have a question for me or the host, please enter that in the chat window. Please note that the webinar is being recorded. And I'd like to introduce you to the Small Business Development Center. We are a grant-funded program with a mission to help businesses start, grow, and prosper. A small business to us is generally defined as a business with less than 500 employees. We also use our funding to provide access to database information and resources related to conducting industry market research and financial analysis and implementing marketing strategies. The SBDC partners with many economic development organizations to help connect business owners to many more resources to help them start and grow a business. We provide education, information, and tools to help businesses make better decisions. We do this through our business consulting services and training. Our consulting services are provided at no cost and are confidential. We offer training, webinars, and seminars in a variety of topics that target the needs of small businesses, including those seen on the screen, and many others. If you have a topic that you would like us to present on, please send me a message and I will do my best to have that created for you. On the screen, you will see that there are a couple of links that you can go to find our trainings. In Pennsylvania, the SBDC network includes 15 centers, all located at institutions of higher education. We are a part of the Americas SBDC, a national network that enables individuals and businesses all over the country to access our program services in their neighborhood. Today is part 3 of our cybersecurity series. We hope you learn a lot today and will plan to attend. Oh no, if you have not attended the other 2 sessions, they are available to view on our YouTube channel. I would like to introduce you to Nate Rodgers. Nate serves as an IT business development analyst at Omnis Technologies, a leading provider of managed IT services. He specializes in helping businesses optimize their technology to improve security, increase efficiency, and reduce risk. Outside of work, Nate enjoys spending time at camp, probably not right now, but with his wife, Rachel, and their daughter, Lauren. So welcome, Nate, and thank you for doing this for us. We really appreciate you doing this 3-part series for us. So I'll let you take it over.
Perfect. Awesome. And thank you for the first 2 sessions as well as this one. And like she had mentioned, if you have missed the first 2, definitely check them out on YouTube. There might be some terms that I throw out today that are covered in those that might help make it more sense. But if you do have a question, by all means, please ask away, and we can pause in the middle where I'm at, just so it's relevant to that slide. Because if you have a question, someone else probably does as well. So, don't be afraid to ask. And IT can be confusing. So, but hopefully by the end of today, it is not anymore. So let me just jump right into here. Let me make sure that is sharing the right one. Okay, perfect. So let me expand that as well. Awesome. So I can't see my screen, but I think we're on the right one. So yes, today we're going to talk about navigating the web safely during the festive season. So I know we're right on that edge, of the Black Fridays, Cyber Mondays, and just the time of deals, right? So we're all shopping online, especially at the snow. If you guys have any snow like we do today, it's all online shopping from here. So just want to introduce myself to those that may not have been in the first couple of sessions. My name's Nate, and so why am I here talking to you? It's pretty much the boring stuff. I'm an IT business development analyst. I started as an intern with the high school that I went to, which was Otto Eldred Junior Senior High School, if anyone's familiar with that. Uh, Overall, I have about 10 years of experience in IT, starting as an intern into a junior technician with Omnis Technologies, and then a couple roles in the middle there, from Texas to Philadelphia, and then now back here. One of the, I said this last time too, and I didn't move it, but one thing that I'm currently working on that I really enjoy is changing the curriculum for high school students that are interested in getting into IT. So if that's something, with that your school district might be interested in, definitely reach out. I have some connections with our career and technical center students and staff and faculty. So we kind of have an idea how to do that. Some more fun stuff. I have 4 dogs. Yes, they are hectic and crazy. Max is a husky who loves this time of year. You cannot get him inside. He comes in, and instead of being a all black dog, he is now an all white dog with snow. So he enjoys that. Letty, Hank, and Buka. Hank is about this big. He's a little guy, so I have to let the big dogs out to clear the snow for him to go out. But I'm also a new dad. I should update this because I'm starting to sadly get further and further from being a new dad. She's 6 months, about 7 months old now. Just getting over a sickness, but she's doing great, and I'm absolutely loving that part of my day. And then lastly, I was in the Army for 8 years as an infantryman. So IT, infantry don't always correlate, but there's some similarities in there that we talked about in one of the previous sessions, if you're interested. But for this session, some things that we're going to talk about are trusted websites. How do we know that it's trusted? What makes it a trusted website? Avoiding public networks, joining ones that aren't secure, using credit cards and secure payment methods. We'll touch on those. What I mean by the differences. At-home cybersecurity practices. So this isn't just things that we're going to talk about for the holiday season. These can be used generally at home. Something you can show your kids at home that might be using the computer, things like that. Phishing emails, I have to put these in there. They're still super relevant. About 90, we're actually looking at 95% now of all cyber attacks start with a phishing email. So they're still effective, is essentially what we're seeing. And then safe browser extensions. These are the fun things. These are the little gadgets at the top of your browser that you might have seen some like Honey that find you coupons or different discounts, things like that. We're going to talk more about the security ones, not necessarily the coupon ones, unfortunately. And then hopefully we'll have some time for some questions and answers at the end. So general disclaimer, I'm just an IT guy. I just do IT stuff every day. And full disclosure, my wife does all our shopping. I cannot be trusted shopping. So she does all of our shopping, but she did work for a bank. And now she works for a marketing agency. And obviously myself being an IT guy, we're pretty safe. So we get some good insight there from both sides. But everything in this slide is my opinion. So you might not agree with one of the extensions that I like, or something that I've used. I'm always open to discuss those and see why you like those, and maybe we'll change that in the slide so we can give the best info. And lastly, my main focus is to educate everyone and make sure you have the newest information about cybersecurity. And so something that you could take and educate one of your friends or family members that you learned today. So like I said, the first thing we're going to start with are trusted websites. First and foremost, stick to the basics. I personally, I love shopping local. Most local stores around here, though, don't have websites, and you're not necessarily shopping online at them anyhow. So if you are going to do online shopping, stick to I guess the big box stores, we can call them. So have you shopped here before? Home Depot, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, reputable places like that. So are they reputable and well known? And lastly, does the website look like it used to? So if you've shopped the website before, does it look the same, or does something feel off? So a lot of times those websites can get mimicked or masked with a replica. But there should be subtle tells that it's not the exact same. So just, does it look the same, or why does it look different? The next portion of being a secure website is an HTTP versus HTTPS. The S at the end of that literally just stands for secure. And the difference between unsecure and secure is they don't contain a certificate that basically authenticates that website from another company that says, yes, this is safe. Your browser should detect it if it does or doesn't have it. And you can check that by hovering over. So on Google, it's actually the little slides now. It used to be just a padlock that looks like the image here next to connection is secure. So if you click on that, you can actually view all the cookies and site data and things like that about that website, to just kind of check its authenticity. One of the other good things to check is, when was the website created? So if you're on a website that you're not sure about and you check these settings and the website was created 2-3 months ago, to me, that's a giant red flag. Not saying it can't be, something that is just a startup, but typically I would say let's avoid those. There's not a lot of information on that website out there to really justify if it's secure or not. And those are the pretty much the two that you need to know. There are some other ways, but those would require some other tools that I don't want to necessarily drill down into today. But if you're interested in that, shoot me an email. I can give you some extra tips. But avoiding public networks. So sorry to everyone who loves working at Starbucks. There's a new one in town, the town over from us, I guess. And it's fun, it's great. However, unprotected public Wi-Fi's like that are provided at Starbucks or Walmart or other shops. These are hackers' paradises. It's everyone that's on those networks. You're basically just a sitting duck, and you have no idea who else is connected to those, and they could have packet sniffing things or just other malicious software running that is capturing all of your data. So also on an unencrypted network, all your data is sent via plain text. So essentially, I can just run a tool that will basically script everything you're doing, everything you're typing. So passwords, things like that will just automatically come into what essentially is just Notepad on your computer. Um, there's also fake Wi-Fi and mimicking Wi-Fi. So this is the number one way that they do this. So you can see in the picture here, there's two identical Wi-Fi networks called Coffee Shop. If you're just out, um, cell phone service might not be great, or you want to go get a coffee, get some work done, and you're not really paying attention. You just jump on Starbucks Wi-Fi or Coffee Shop in this case. One of those is the real one, that might have a little bit of security. The other one, however, is a fake one that somebody is broadcasting from their device. So when you connect to that, you're actually connecting to their computer first, then the network. So anything that you do is getting funneled through their computer, and it's logging everything. So that is one thing to be aware of. And then lastly, I had mentioned malware distribution. So and I think in one of the other videos too, I talk about how you can just do a scan and see all the devices on that network. So anytime a device is connected to that network, it becomes a node, and every node is accessible one way or another. And through these exploits, they find ways to basically just airdrop you a piece of malware. You might not even know that it's there. You might not know how it got there, or you didn't necessarily have to click on anything. You just being a part of their network makes you open to receiving a piece of malware. So the next section is using credit cards and secure payment methods. Um, Generally, credit cards offer a better security and fraud protection versus a debit card. And you can freeze your card quicker with mobile apps. Some banks, depending on who you have. So I do have Navy Federal now, which has a great app and everything. However, prior to Navy Federal, I was with a more local bank. They don't have an app or anything like that. They have a website that you can get to your account. It's not great. And my card was compromised at a Pittsburgh Penguins game, and it took days before they flagged it. I had lost significant amount of money that wasn't able to be tracked down. The bank has protection against that, so luckily I didn't technically lose any money, but it was a good two plus weeks before I had access to a debit card. So I walked around town with a checkbook. I don't know if you've ever had to do that, but it's not favorable. It was quite rough. Versus having a debit card. And I also have had credit cards that have been compromised. Fraud detection was very quick. They sent me a text and then called me and said, "Hey, is this you?" Obviously it wasn't, so they froze it instantly. The funds were put right back, and they've started investigating on their end. And then a new card was issued, and I got that within like 2 or 3 days. So personal experience, credit cards typically are better. Hopefully, you have a good debit card or a good bank for that. If not, though, definitely consider credit cards. And then secure payment methods. The first one, I got a little bit of controversy when I put this in there and ran it by some other folk, because PayPal historically has not been looked at as a top provider for secure payment methods. And however, in recent years, they have made a ton of new updates. I've used PayPal quite often for a lot of different things. Um, and it's actually been a lot more secure. There's a lot more security features that you can send. Very, very similar to Venmo. If you've ever Venmoed someone and had to provide the last four of their number to make sure it's them, they get a code, you get a code. PayPal's done some changes to where that is how I use PayPal now as well. Apple Pay, I don't think I've pulled my debit card um, out of my wallet or my credit card in months. I'm a very big fan of Apple Pay. It's all on my phone. However, there is some issues that you could run into if someone has a scanner that, you walk by and you have your wallet open, they could scan it. But Apple has very good security against those kind of things. So that's definitely um, an option, as well as Google Pay. So if you're an Android user, you probably have Google Pay versus Apple Pay. Very, very similar, very, very convenient, very friendly, and you use tap instead of inserting your card, which they've had card readers that kind of go over top of it, and then it reads your card information as well. Tap really takes that out of it. And lastly, I put it in bold at the bottom because I should have put it in red too, but never use direct bank transfers or wires when shopping online. If you're at the checkout, you're super excited and it doesn't give you options for the above and it wants you to just wire them or set up a direct deposit essentially to them. That should be a huge red flag, and we should avoid those at all costs. These are extremely hard to track down and get that money back versus debit cards and transactions or different types of transactions. Very similar to cash, how once cash leaves your hand, we have no idea where that goes. Wires, unfortunately, are still actually pretty similar to that and are harder to transfer or track down. Okay, so these are some at-home cybersecurity practices that we can do. Again, not just around the holidays. We can use these all the time. These can be used whenever. So again, it's not just for your office either. We talked about the unsecured networks. So we want to talk about the reverse side of that. We want to have secure networks. How do we do that? First and foremost, we need to change those login credentials. A lot of defaults are admin 1234. If there's any Spectrum users here, you know that your password is typically all lowercase with some numbers. I think my original one, when I got it, it was like calm deer 333. Not that hard to crack with a brute force. I'm actually going to show you in a little bit the time that it takes for a brute force depending on your password. So router updates. If you don't have a router provided by your or ISP, and you have your own, or even if you have an ISP that lets you get into that, make changes, we want to make sure that these are up to date. Each update usually contains security updates that they've seen in different breaches or different vulnerabilities that they have that their team has found between their ethical hackers and or maybe just a security breach that they actually had. So we want to make sure that those are getting updated regularly. And this next one's kind of concerning. It always concerns me anyways. It is best to have a guest network. So if you are someone that works from home, has an office computer at home, does banking online, or you're shopping online, but you're also a host. My wife and I, we like to host parties all the time, like New Year's and Thanksgiving and stuff. But 35% of cyber criminals are people you actually know. Whether they're out for money or just to get into your Facebook to see what's going on. 35% of them you do know. So to combat this, we have a guest network set up. It's not unsecured. It is secured, and it's not just there. It's an actual network that we give to our friends. So when they come over, they can connect to it, and then but they're not on ours where I have my work computer, a home server, and some other things like that. And then next is, again, in all bold, in all caps, using strong passwords. I can't preach this enough. They're getting better at making the website complexity and requirements bigger and longer and more complex. I know it is hard to remember those, but they should be unique, complex, a minimum of 8 characters, and then a bunch of some numbers and special characters. To If you're like me and you're not great at remembering these, you can take advantage of LastPass or OnePass. I'm gonna mention those in a minute as well. So um, but they will keep your passwords for you, and then that account is secured as well. So that way you can keep all your things straight. Um, Next is using multi-factor authentication. This would be you're trying to sign into a
Hey, Nate,
device. Yeah.
there is a question. Harold
Oh,
Smith wanted
yeah.
wanted to know what you think about Venmo.
Venmo. I use Venmo. It's probably my most used other than PayPal. I use it for actually I get my hair when I get my hair cut. You can see I'm slacking, but I use it to pay for like my haircuts and things like that. My wife and I we resell like baby clothes and stuff. We've used Venmo for that as well. They have great security features. They have really good logs as well. My only concern with Venmo, and this has happened to us several times, if you go to Venmo somebody and let's say my username is Nate-Rodgers-2, I think, something like that. My last name is Rodgers. If you were to type Rogers and send me $20, I come back to you and say, hey, I didn't get that. Can you resend it or did you send it? And you say, yeah, no, I sent it to you. And you show me and I go, it's RODG, not ROG. That $20 is gone. We've yet to have an instance to where Venmo kind of steps in and says, "Oh, hey, I see you sent that to the wrong person. Here's your money back," because they don't know if that was who you meant to send it to or not. So historically, we have sent money to accounts that maybe are locked out of. My wife has a Venmo that people have sent money to. If for whatever reason someday we can get access to that Venmo again, we'll be extremely happy. But there is her old account still out there. It's the first one that shows up, but Venmo will not let us in there to get it because it was set up with her old email, which was set up with an old phone number, which we don't have access to. We've tried to ask the person to like, hey, I know you don't know me. Can you please send me a code that you're going to get? It just never works out that way. Obviously, and I don't blame them. Like, how do I know that you're the old user of this phone? So Venmo has its positives. It is secure. It works well. There's just some other features in there that I personally have had bad experiences with, where I haven't had those experiences with something like PayPal or Google Pay or Apple Pay.
Harold also wanted to know if LastPass and OnePass are free to use.
They do have free versions, yes. They also have paid versions. So depending on what you're looking for this for, whether if it's a personal use, they do have that, and it's a browser extension. So we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And I think I've used LastPass more than OnePass, but they are free. They have free versions. They also have paid versions, so you can get a little bit more with it if you want. But yes, they do come with that, and they're super super easy to use. And then they typically remember your web pages. So if you're a frequent flyer to a certain website, it'll just show up and say, oh, and then you put your LastPass password in, and then it will display your passwords for you or just automatically put them in. So whereas if we've all saved passwords in Google, and so when we go to sign into Facebook or something else, you can, as soon as you click that field, there's a drop down of like managed passwords, and you can just click it and get right in, and it doesn't authenticate any other way. Um, so is although convenient, not necessarily safe, because if I just sit down at your computer and can click those, and your computer doesn't know who's sitting there, so there's no security really with that. But yes, LastPass and OnePass, to answer the question, do have free versions.
That was it for the questions.
Okay, perfect. So I think we left off at using multi-factor authentication. I know it's a pain in the butt to have to wait for a text message or to have another email set up to where you're getting these codes and go in. But the fact of the fact of the matter is that MFA can decrease your chances of someone gaining access to your account by up to 99%. And I believe that that 1% is for the extreme possibility, rare possibility that whomever is trying to get into your account not only has that info, but also has your second level or your second device to authenticate with. So like, in theory, I would have to steal your I would have to get your email, your password, and then I would also have to steal your phone if that's how that's set up before I can get into the account. So that extra step has really drastically decreased that. The issue that you're still seeing is that many accounts and businesses don't have that set up still because of the pain in the butt that it could be. Next is one of my favorite things to do. Probably not my wife's, but is educate household members. So just keeping everyone in the know of what's happening, what to look for, what you can and what you can look for to decrease your chances of a cyber attack. It's not the most fun table talk, at dinner, dinner conversation, but it is relevant and it is important, especially right now when, my grandma is shopping online between the 15 attendees and whoever's watching on YouTube. Where my grandma should not be shopping online, but I want her to be safe if she does. So I want, to just have these kind of little conversations with her, or even be there with her while she's doing it, just to make sure she's safe. And lastly, knowing what's being installed. Now, this is probably going to be looked at as micromanaging your own house, and like looking over your kids' shoulders specifically. But if you do have a shared computer, just keeping a log of what's installed, and this can be a mental log. I'm not saying you have to sit there and handwrite every single program that's installed, but just pop into your installed apps and features, and just see what's in there and make sure there's nothing that looks fishy. Especially if you have younger kids that are into like Roblox and Minecraft and just other games like that. They haven't been exposed to cybersecurity practices and websites and what to look for, as much as we have, being adults in the workforce. But make sure that what they're installing is legitimate. And because something that they do but don't necessarily want to tell you that they did could result in your accounts being compromised. So one of the things that I had mentioned a little bit ago was how quickly your passwords can be hacked. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, please do. It's super important to understand. So to break this down more, in the first column we have numbers only. So if you have anywhere from 4 to 10 numbers, so if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or random, those are instantly hackable. And these, again, this is also with a brute force attack or like a dictionary attack. And so these are softwares and things that are just every single number combination possible. It'll throw it at it, or commonly used words, and then it puts the commonly used words together, and then maybe it'll capitalize the first one or every other, and it just goes through all these an algorithm of just potential um, just potential passwords, I guess. So if you ever took a statistics class, you I guess you'll know what I'm trying to say here. But anyway, again, numbers 4 through 10, those are instant. 11 random numbers, a little bit longer, but it takes them 2 seconds. So, and realistically, whoa, sorry, I thought I could scroll there. Going down to 18 total characteristics or total numbers, 9 months. If I'm dedicated enough and I know that it's 18 random numbers put together, I have time. These can run in the background for months at a time. So, just because you're not, even if you are logged in or not, it doesn't matter. If they have time, they'll get it. The next is lowercase letters. So again, we can see where the instantly comes over after 7. That's why at minimum of 8 is why we see this, because that takes at least 5 seconds, which is not great. I mean, in my opinion, anything 12 and over should be the minimum, just because once we hit that 1 year mark, again, if you're dedicated, they could do it. But our chances of getting hacked start getting less and less. But obviously the best thing we could ever do is 18 upper numbers, or numbers upper and lowercase letters and symbols. I'm not even going to try to say how many years that is, but it's a lot. So again, take a picture of this if you would like, just to kind of give you a rough idea as to what a good secure password is. And we talked a little bit about phishing emails. So I'll give you a minute to kind of look this over. This is an example of an actual one that I found, but it is a legitimate one. I have seen some very similar to this. I guess I'll give you a spoiler. It is a phishing email. So, if you got this and you thought, oh, that looks kind of legitimate, that's because they're getting better. Overall, with AI and just different tools that are coming out, phishing emails are getting harder to spot. First thing that I looked at here was just that it came from Microsoft, but it came from support at msupdate.net. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, I don't think Microsoft is using msupdate.net for a domain, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, we'll say. Looking at the body, the A in account, in my opinion, probably should be capitalized. Your password changed. Again, a title with probably improper punctuation, being the P and the C not capitalized. I don't recall changing my password, so that's immediately a red flag. Also, do I own this email? Ethan at hooksecurity.co. I'm assuming this person's name was Ethan. So we'll look at it. And it was changed. So if it wasn't you, looking at these, no security info used, apparently. It was in the United States from a iOS device and Safari. Okay, IP address. You can Google IP addresses. If you didn't know, you can Google that to kind of see where it was from. And then I have in the next slide here. So reset your password, review your security info, learn how to make your account more secure. And you can also opt out to change. So all those, the opt out and all the blue, those are links. So if you're not sure about it, again, the Microsoft account team probably should be, since that's your title. But this was one that I made myself in a couple of minutes. I copied the contents of one that I actually got. I just sent it to myself to make it cleaner. So again, this one looks pretty legitimate. We do a lot of invoicing. And I might not be the one that sends the invoice. So I don't necessarily know off the top of my head what the invoice numbers are. They're too hard to keep track of. So I see this and I think, okay, I do business with Omnis Technologies. I'll just do an invoice, or I'll just go pay this. At first glance, you can quickbooks.pay/-your-bill.com overdue invoice. It's a long URL, but it kind of makes sense at the same time. But I wrote that. I mean, I put that in there. But if you were to hover your mouse over that and any link in your email, what you'll see is what's in this red box. So instead of going to a QuickBooks or an Intuit account or anything like that, you can see it's actually taking me to https omnistech.com. So if I'm trying to pay a QuickBooks account or QuickBooks invoice, why is this taking me to Omnis Tech? That doesn't seem right. So that, again, going back to this one, any blue link you see there that they want you to click on, just hover over it, check in the bottom left if it doesn't come up right at your cursor, and it will show you where that is being sent, instead of what it's proposing to be. And then lastly, I want to go over some browser extensions. So these are the kind of the fun things. And I call them the good guys. So password managers, we had some questions about LastPass, OnePass. These are some other ones as well. But what a password manager does is it manages your passwords, and it can generate and autofill strong passwords. So if you're running out of ideas, I don't know what a strong password is. I really like using my dog's name and some numbers, and I'll throw in an exclamation point at the end. That's a pretty standard assumption. If you run out of ideas, they also generate them for you. You can select how many characters you want, and the complexity will always be good by default. So you definitely look into LastPass, OnePass. Dashline is another one. I haven't used that personally, but I have heard of Bitward, and very very seldomly use that. But that was with a company in Texas. But I know they're very good. The next one, and some websites like them, some don't. So, if you install one of these and a good trusted website doesn't like it, you may have to disable them, but they're great to have. And those are just a good ad blocker and anti-tracking. So what these do is they block ads. Um, there's nothing more annoying than when you're trying to just read the content of a website or a blog or something, and you're getting pop-ups in the middle of the text or on the right side or left side, and it's nothing relevant, nothing you want. But sometimes those ads also jump around and you accidentally click on them. That happens to me quite a bit. And then these also block malicious scripts. So scripts are things in the background that you can't necessarily see, um, or click on to activate. They just kind of run as soon as you start getting there. And you can customize these for trusted websites. So if I think YouTube blocks ads or doesn't like ad blockers a lot because that's how they make money, you can basically tell your ad blocker, hey, trust YouTube. We'll have, it is what it is. We have to do it this way. But a couple of those are uBlock Origin, Privacy Badger, and Ghostery. I've used the uBlock Origin the most, and I think there's another one if it'll pop up and just say ad blocker. They're pretty good as well. We talked a little bit earlier about HTTP versus HTTPS. HTTP websites they're not secure. They're not necessarily regulated. Not really sure about them. They just overall can't be trusted. So why not just block them from the start? And you can do that with HTTPS everywhere. It just forces websites to use HTTPS, and if they don't have that ability, the website just doesn't really load for you, and it'll tell you. I have things similar to this set up on my computer, but it's through my antivirus. So I don't have one of these installed, but you certainly can. Some more of the good guys. Anti-phishing and malware protection. So this is I like what I just said. So I have antivirus on my computer. It's one that we pay for. It's a very reputable company, and it just comes with this. It does a web browser scan for me 24/7 as well. So, but this blocks malicious websites, phishing scams, and annoying ads. Instead of having a bunch of these extensions, you can just go with a malware browser or I'm sorry, an antivirus or things like that. And those come included with these. So malware browser guard though is probably one of the only ones that I've trusted and have used. I believe they're still around. They push the antivirus more, but if you don't have one of the ad blockers and you want to just do script blockers, they make those as well. NoScript and ScriptSafe are the top two. These block those scripts from running in the background that slow down your computer and can be trusted. So if you've ever loaded a website and it's just super, super slow, so you test another website and that website's fine, that website's fast, there's a good chance that the one that's slow has a lot of scripts running in the background that could be tracking your cookies, could be just data mining, things like that, all things that are legal, but not necessarily things that you want happening. So if you've ever been on a website and then all of a sudden there's an ad for something that you were searching 3 days ago, that's data mining. Those are scripts that are running to see what you're interested in, and then they sell it to their to the next website, and then they post ads. Oh, okay, I know Nate is interested in hunting stuff because it's hunting season and he was just on Dunham's Sporting. Let's give him an ad for that, and then if he clicks that ad, we get revenue. It's a whole thing, and they're all scripts in the background. And then lastly is cookie management. So if you've ever had an issue with your web browser, your IT guy might have said, delete your cookies, delete your browsing cache, delete all of that, or open an incognito window and see if it works. Cookie management, just cookie auto delete was one that I found after some research. It was reputable, it was good, great reviews. They automatically delete cookies when you close your tab, so you don't have to go in and do that every time. And it just helps prevent tracking with the persistent cookies. So it's pretty lightweight, not a lot of interaction needed, but definitely something that I would look into. That is all I have. I saw some hands raised, and I think some other messages in the chat. So we have about 13 minutes or so to answer any questions you guys may have. Okay, so I see the first one, John. So you had asked about receiving pop-up messages while you're online via your PC from Microsoft, prompting a new online game and asking me if you want to, or asking you, I guess, if you want to purchase it. Can you permanently stop this activity? Depending on how they show up and where they're coming up, yes. In the bottom right corner, so if they come up there in the bottom right, usually there's 3 dots associated with that. If you click on those, you can disable pop-ups, or if you click on your Windows icon in the bottom left, and then notification center is where you're going to want to head. So if you go there, you should be able to disable notifications or pop-ups there. It's something that I do personally. Google sends you ridiculous ones. You get pop-ups and ads all the time for like virus detected, click here, act now kind of thing. And it's just an ad. It's a scare tactic to get you to click on it. We by default will do that before we send a computer out, but it doesn't always stick. Or we don't always get to the computer before it goes to the client. So we see that a lot. So yes, you can. Next is, can you expand on Cognito? The incognito. When you open a browser, yes. So an incognito window, I use them often. Part of our company is a marketing agency as well, but essentially an incognito window doesn't track your cookies. It doesn't save that kind of stuff. So it's a version of safe browsing that you can do, but just know that if you put any info in there and you want it to autosave, it's not going to. But to get to it, if you're already in Chrome, we'll use Chrome to start. In Chrome, in the top right corner, I think there's 3 dots that you can click on, and then it will say open an incognito window. And then same thing for Microsoft Edge. If you prefer that, you can click that. And then that one is called in private browsing. You can click that as well. And then I like to use that a lot, like especially on like my iPhone. Why? I'm not sure. It started because it would actually close all my tabs for me, and I just kept it that way. But if I'm signing into things, I don't want my browser to remember like my logins. I remember them personally, or I have them in like a LastPass or something like that. So I use incognito a lot just because it doesn't save anything, and it just kind of deletes that when you're done. What about your cell phone when you are on the internet? Are you referring to like the browser extensions and things like that? How to stay safe with your cell phone? I would say using incognito, or I can't remember what it's called. Actually, I could tell you. So on my iPhone, if I open up my browser here, it's just called private. So if you have Safari, um, like at the very bottom, I don't know if that's going to work or not. You can click private. That's what I use. And then it'll delete that. Doesn't save any passwords. It can be annoying if you click on a link often and it takes you to a Safari page and you got to sign in. But as far as that, there's no apps that I've installed on iOS or Android for that. They typically come pretty well secure. Yeah, sorry, Eric, I guess to answer your question as well, are any of the extensions able to be used on a cell phone as apps? I'm sure there are, yes. Specifically like the ad blockers and pop-ups. I'm sure that there are apps for that. I would definitely have to do some research and get back to you about something that I found, or maybe a more reputable one with a good track record. I like to test my apps for a good week or so before I say, oh yeah, jump on this one, use this one. So I'll definitely look into that, and I can reach out with some answers that I find as far as apps for you. But generally, cell phones come with pretty good security that's built in. Like a built-in antivirus kind of thing that includes those for you. But yeah, I'd like to do some research for you and see what I can find. And then John has a couple questions here as well. You use the Chrome browser, but once in a while Edge pops up and you don't know why. You don't ever plan to use Edge. I don't blame you. I'm not an Edge fan. How do you stop this? So it all depends. And then this isn't necessarily a pop-up issue. This is a default apps issue. So again, on your computer, if you click the start button in the bottom left, and then just type in default apps, it will show you a humongous list of default apps. So if you're opening a PDF, let's say, you can click by extension, and then scroll all the way down to the P's, and then you'll see PDF, and then it will show you which app that opens up with by default. Most likely it's going to be Edge. You can click that and then select Chrome if you want, and then same thing with pictures, different image types, things like that. Every single extension that a computer has seen or knows is in there, so you should be able to find it there. And then, or you can try to right click and then open with, and then select whichever app you prefer. And then your second question was, you've seen on TV recent ads for Windows 11, 11S, which seems to promote other security. Is not needed with, seems like a sales pitch. Yes. I personally, I don't, 11, 10 and 11S might be good for home users. For what I do through work, 10 and 11S have been terrible. We have to open up the Windows Store, and then it's called like get out of S mode to take that out. It's more like a kiosk condensed version of Windows, where it doesn't necessarily give you all of the features, and it doesn't let things run. So like, for instance, if your computer has Windows 10 or 11S on it and you need some remote support, you call me, I try to remote in. It's not going to let you download my app because it seems that it's unsecure, because the app is designed to remote into your computer. So it's going to by default block that. And then so it makes my job more difficult. But for a home user, maybe like I was saying with my grandma, I would definitely recommend she might have the Windows 10 or 11S, because it's not going to let her install something on accident. That's but if you do have, if you have kids in the home, or if you yourself want to download Spotify, things like that, chances are you're going to have to get rid of the S mode to be able to do what you would please. And then next question, I have a business email on my Android phone, which also includes personal emails. And from time to time, pop-ups, I lost it. There we go. And from time to time, pop-ups from the carrier to buy a game or service. Do you recommend software for phones? Any name brands? So yeah, to answer with the same as the other one, I'm not sure about phones. I'll have to do some research. Actually, one of the gentlemen in the office, he's a big Android user. I'll run it by him too and see what he thinks. As far as that, I don't necessarily get pop-ups on my phone, but I use my phone like I'm just like old school. Like I prefer, I should have a flip phone for how little I use my smartphone. But I will look into those for you, and I can reach out with what I find, because yeah, pop-ups are annoying. Doesn't matter where it is. They're just brutal. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that, because it definitely seems to be an issue that is pretty common that I wasn't aware of. So yeah, I'll look into that. Seth, the mobile app for the Firefox natively supports extensions, whereas Safari and Chrome don't support extensions on mobile. Perfect. So someone there has experienced that. I now that you say that, I have heard of people installing Firefox more frequently for mobile, and it seems to be doing really well. DuckDuckGo is another one. I haven't used it, and I really should, but DuckDuckGo has seemed to really make that leap in the cybersecurity realm of safe engine browsing. So if you're curious and you're kind of over the Google and Microsoft shenanigans that they do, check out DuckDuckGo, and see if you prefer that or if you like it. It might not be for everybody, but I have heard of the strides they've made in the security sector. So which I guess I should have read that. Which browser do I like best? I'm still a Google guy. I like Google. I'm kind of biased because, like I said, part of our company is a marketing agency. The name of the game with marketing is knowing Google Analytics and knowing Google search engine optimization and like what gets your website to be that first link. So you have to play the Google game. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the insane amount of RAM usage it has. Its downfalls. There are downfalls to every browser. I My second browser, I have a Mac as well that I use, and I use Safari sometimes on that. So I do like that, but I would like to play with DuckDuckGo a little bit more. I'm just super habitual. I use the same. I don't change that much. I think I've ordered the same thing, the same coffee, everything for 5 years at least, like a minimum of five. So, but I would like to play around with those, and then maybe we could do like a really quick, like half hour session on just like different web browsers, what I find great about this one or that one versus that one. If that'd be an interest to everyone, I would definitely like to explore those more. Any luck on deer hunting? Yes, actually. I harvested a super nice, very very wide 8 point. The first week of archery. This is my first year archery hunting, which was a whole different experience. If anyone else is familiar with it, during the rut, it was just phenomenal to see deer moving and the difference of late rifle hunting or late year rifle hunting in PA. Very very different, but now I was very fortunate to harvest a nice 8 point. It was my first buck actually too as well, so um, definitely an experience, definitely a lot of fun. I prefer ground blind hunting versus tree stand. Bigger guy, I don't like, not a fan of heights. I don't think I belong up in trees, or hanging off the side of them for that. But so being on the ground blind, I got, you're a little bit more, I'll say like intimate with it. You're a lot closer than you are in a tree stand. So it was a great time, great experience. And you did purchase Starlink. I don't know if you gathered that from a previous one, because I think we had touched on Starlink at one point. I big Starlink fan myself. I live in, I mean, I would show you, it's probably too bright out, but it's literally just nothing but hills. ISPs aren't great out here. Sometimes you're only stuck to satellite. And since Starlink has come out, I have helped several businesses and home users set up their Starlinks, and they are massively outperforming fibers. Right, at least right now, especially with this weather, you might see a little bit of a hindrance, but overall, they've been great. And you did it for your business, which is great. Video calls, and my mother's Wi-Fi service is very slow in the rural area. So yes, it depends. So there's a couple things that I have found with that. One was antenna position. So if you don't have your antenna in a good open spot, and or have calibrated it with the app correctly, it you'll be a little behind. So check out your app and talk to their technical support if you haven't. Their technical support that I've experienced with has been very good, very quick as well, especially for like businesses on the business side of it. Residential, I don't get involved. Once I help them set it up, I'm just kind of done. But you should be able to see your antenna, like scanning and searching for the satellites up top. So if you haven't seen that, try try to recalibrate that and make sure it's got a good clear vision of the sky, and it should pick those up as well. Let's see. You think Norton makes mobile software and search it? I have heard of Norton making it. You're concerned about a virus or malware on your phone. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it it's definitely, it should be a concern. If you feel like you have one in there, definitely explore that and get screenshots of what you're seeing. So when you email a client from your and then you email, okay, and then send it to a client with virus or malware, search Norton. Appears to have a mobile app phone software. Verizon seems to want to sell some upgrades too. So yeah, there is a lot of, unfortunately, there is a lot of upselling um, with mobile, and the security. They've done really well before with it. I think it falls more on the Android and the Apple side of it, to have their security, not necessarily Verizon. I have seen where Verizon tries, like they can sell you different security packages and things like that. I've never gone with them, but there are apps that I've seen that you can install. Best practice too. I'm guilty of it. I do have my work email on my phone. Um, but if you want to follow like the Department of Defense guidelines and the CMMC or NIST kind of things, then technically we shouldn't have our work emails on our phones. But if you do and you're worried about a virus or something like that on your phone, I would say definitely remove your work email first, but until you get confirmation from a professional that your phone is secure. There's nothing to be worried about. If you're in the Bradford area, you want to stop in, definitely pop into my office. I could definitely take a look for you. We're just any other trusted provider in your area should be able to tell you, to give you that peace of mind if you have a virus or not. Due to the longer meeting. Thank you for the kind remarks on the presentation. Sorry you got here a little late. Not a big deal if you didn't catch at the beginning, or know before. These are on the YouTube channel as well, so feel free to pop in there and see what you missed.
Well, thank you, Nate.
Yeah, no problem.
We really appreciate you coming and doing this. And if you are open to it, yeah, we'll gladly schedule another one. Possibly after the first of the year, maybe February.
Yeah,
But yeah, we can talk about that. Also,
yeah.
I wanted to remind everyone that I will be sending an email and there will be a survey that we really, really need you to fill that survey out so we can plan accordingly for our future trainings and get you the trainings topics that you want. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and close this out and yeah, I'll be talking to you, Nate, and
Awesome.
thank you so much. So
Yeah,
everybody
sounds
have a
great.
beautiful day and stay warm.
Yes, safe travels if anyone is in the snow belty region
Yes,
that's I've
absolutely.
currently gandering out at. It's not
I
great
think
here,
we're
so I
currently being buried.
yes, I think apart just shy of staying the night at the office, we might just kind of wait it out and hope the plows get out later. So drive safe if anyone is in the inclement weather like we are here.
Okay, and we're gonna close out, so I'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you.